Warning, this video contains a lot of theorizing. I do not claim that anything in this video is 100% exactly what Riot intends to do with this story. This is just me having some fun with a theory. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this theory. Aatrox, a champion shrouded in mystery. He's unlike anything else we've seen from champions in League. He looks human in shape, has these scale things for skin, I don't know. He's quite unique in design, clearly thought out well by Riot. But for such a unique design, not much is known about Aatrox. All we do know is that he's one of the last 5 remaining Darkin, an ancient race that, instead of clarifying things, only adds on to the mystery. And you know what happens when fans are presented with a mystery. There's gonna be a lot of theorizing. And today, I'm going to attempt to add on to a popular theory. But as with everything, we gotta do some research. So let's get as much information on Aatrox and the Darkin as possible. Well, the Darkin race are technically immortal. We don't know if they can be killed physically by someone else, but they cannot die of old age, nor do they physically age. This explains why Aatrox has been able to be a prominent figure throughout the entire history of Runeterra, with several cultures telling stories of his greatness for aiding them in battle long ago. It's even theorized by the community that his Justicar skin is a fabricated image told by his followers, which also explains why he looks like a hero in shining gold armor. I'd speak well about my hero that came to save me and my people at the last minute, but this heroic image of Aatrox is not like the actual Aatrox, who appears to have an insatiable bloodlust. Actually, bloodlust seems to be a common theme in Aatrox. He has a living blade that drinks the blood of his fallen enemies. He is known to appear in wars throughout history, probably to feed his bloodlust. And just look at the names of his moves. Bloodthirst, Blood Price, Massacre. It's safe to say this is one bloodthirsty champion. Eh? Get it? Because the item is Bloodthirster? Eh? Okay, moving on. One thing that has always been shrouded in mystery is why Aatrox has appeared in wars all throughout history. In fact, Aatrox seems to have only appeared in wars to aid the losing side in order for them to make a comeback. He is known for appearing in wars waged by humans, coming forth when victory seemed assured for one side, only to turn the tables with a few words and an unknown power which inspires a monstrous bloodlust in people. See? There it is again with the bloodlust theme. And he's been doing this practically all over Runeterra, specifically Ancient Shurima, Ionia, Noxus, Demacia, and more recently Freljord. But why is he going around only helping the losing side make an unexpected turnaround? Well, what if Aatrox, this entire time, has been attempting to revive the 4 remaining Darkin spirits through the bloodshed of war? Of course, this is assuming that Aatrox's bloodlust theme is a common feature among Darkin. I mean, everything that comes out of the void has a common theme of hunger. Hunger for knowledge, hunger for evolution by devouring prey, and just straight up hunger. If monsters from the void can share a theme, then I think it's safe to say that it's possible for the Darkin to share a theme as well. Before I go on to explain my reasoning behind this, you guys have to understand the Darkin theory, which was first made popular by Reddit user Tedster, which I will link in the description. Tedster's theory proposes that the remaining Darkin are actually other champions we know, Varus, Brand, and Jax, who have been infused with a Darkin spirit. This is because they share the theme of bloodlust. In Varus' lore, he was meant to protect the Pit of Palace, which was a pit full of powerful dark energy known to corrupt the minds of people. However, after finding his village slaughtered by Noxian invaders, he decided to embrace the corruption from the pit, and gained an insatiable bloodlust for Noxian soldiers. With grim resolve, he condemned himself to the black flames, feeling malevolent energy bond to his skin, and with it, the promise of ruin. He left seeking the blood of all Noxians involved with the invasion, a grisly task that eventually led him to the invasion's most infamous perpetrators. The corrupted bloodlust theme continues with Brand. Keegan Road was a seafaring marauder who was led to a dancing column of flame in a frozen waste. His body was then consumed by the flame, and the spirit of Brand took over his body. With his new vessel, he had only one desire: to lay waste to the world of men and Yordles. You know, adding yodels at the end kinda takes away from the seriousness of the phrase. Wanting to destroy everything in the world can be regarded as bloodthirsty, because after all, people are a part of the world. Brand's lore also shares similarities with Varys' lore. Both were corrupted by a flame that gave them a newfound power and bloodlust. Now, Jax is a bit different from these two because not much is known about Jax. His entire lore is all about his entrance into the League of Legends, and I'm trying my best to avoid that since it's no longer canon. So what's the deal with Jax? Well, Jax is theorized to be a mage lord, an ancient race that waged war against the protectorates on Runeterra. The evidence proposed in the theory is that Jax is unlike any other champion we've seen on League and is shrouded in mystery. So it could be that he is the last mage lord in Runeterra since mage lords were an ancient race. Also, the title mage lord would imply that some mastery of magic is involved, and despite fighting physically, Jax still uses magic in his kit. The last bit of evidence is a dark silhouette behind Jax, which is undeniably Aatrox. Aatrox's lore states that his first appearance was in the war between the Mage Lords and the Protectorates. Therefore, it is theorized that Jax was somehow infused with a darkened spirit after this war, which would explain why Jax is still alive after so many years. After all, Darkin don't age. But what about the bloodlust thing? Well, Jax seems to always be looking for a fight with his in-game dialogue.
Who's next? Bring it on. It's on. Let me at 'em. Ready for battle. Who wants a piece of the champ?
I know that's a stretch, but it's the best we got to work with, you know, since Jax's lore is outdated and all. Also, you can't deny that there has to be a connection between the two since Riot purposefully included Aatrox in his splash art. So the theory is that these three were infused with the Darkened Spirit. Now, I'm adding on to this, and proposing that the reason why Aatrox has been appearing in wars all over Runeterra is to revive the Darkened Spirits in Runeterra. Let me reiterate that for this to be true, I'm assuming that the bloodlust is a common theme among Darkin, mainly because it's a common theme in the theory proposed by Reddit Tedster. So what if bloodlust is what empowers the Darkened Spirit? This would explain why Aatrox has appeared in so many wars, but why to help the losing side? Well, what happens when the losing side makes a comeback? It prolongs the war. When your team makes a comeback in a game of League, you make the game last longer. By prolonging the war, Aatrox would be allowing for the maximum amount of bloodshed to occur, fueling the spirit residing in that area. Now wait just a minute, what do you mean the spirit residing in the area, Nimbus? Yes, faithful and beautiful viewer, think about it. There are 5 Darkins in the world, and Aatrox has only appeared in battles within 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 regions of Runeterra. What about Zaun, Piltover, Shadow Owls, and one of my favorites, Bilgewater? No, he has only appeared in Shurima, Ionia, Demacia, Noxus, and Freljord for a reason. And I believe it's to revive the spirits within those areas by drawing out wars as long as possible so he can ensure the maximum amount of bloodshed, thus fueling those spirits. But reviving a spirit is just the first step. The spirit then needs a host, a vessel to call their own. And how do they acquire said vessel? Through the brain. Did you think I wasn't gonna make you guys learn a thing or two about psychology in this video? This channel was founded for that purpose, so yeah, I'm bringing the psych game. So how does the Darkened Spirit make its way into the mind of its unsuspecting vessel? Well, we do know that certain emotions can be mapped onto certain regions of the brain. For instance, the amygdala is a neural cluster in the brain best known for stimulating aggression and fear. If you're to electrically stimulate this region of the brain in a cat, the cat begins to prepare to attack, hissing with its back arched up, which are clear signs of aggression. However, move the targeted stimulation slightly, and suddenly the cat begins to cower in the corner. So, is the Darkened Spirit seeping its way into the amygdala, triggering aggression in the vessel and causing them to be more likely to act out on their aggression? No, that's not the case. And here's why. You see, at first I thought that was the case, but that would be way too simple. The bloodlust expressed in the lores aren't just simple acts of aggression, they're contemplated desire for murder. And that's when I started thinking, what about serial killers? I began to remember in my studies that brain scans of serial killers have shown differences in brain structure to that of other humans. After doing more research, I came across Jim Fallon, a neuroscientist known for his studies on the brain structure of serial killers, people who have killed multiple people over long periods of time. I can't imagine how long Aatrox has been killing people, you know, with him being immortal and all. So in Fallon's research on the brain structure of serial killers, he found that there was lower activity in the orbital cortex of the brain, which is located in the frontal lobe, which is where it gets its official name from, the orbital frontal cortex. You see, the brain is divided into 4 different lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital. These 4 lobes have their own separate functions, but today we're targeting the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is where our important cognitive skills are controlled. Skills such as problem solving, planning, decision making, attention concentration, emotional expression, and more. The list goes on. But the key function that relates to this is inhibition. The frontal lobe allows us to inhibit our actions, suppressing behaviors like rage, violence, and heavy drinking. This suppression can be linked to the orbital cortex, an area believed to be involved with ethical behavior, moral decision-making, and impulse control. So what would happen if the frontal lobe was damaged in any way? Well, we know what would happen thanks to the case of Phineas Gage. Phineas Gage was a United States railroad construction foreman who suffered one hell of a head injury in 1848. While he was working, an explosion caused an iron rod to drive through his head, almost destroying his entire frontal lobe and a good portion of his skull. Miraculously though, he survived the event, but was never the same again. You see, Phineas Gage was a calm-tempered man. He was soft-spoken and a very friendly hard worker. After the damage to his frontal lobe, he became irritable, profane, and dishonest. In other words, he became less inhibited. He was unable to work at his old job again because the capable, efficient, and balanced-minded Gage no longer existed, and now was replaced with a profane and impatient Gage who lacked respect for his fellow workers. The outcome of this event showcases the importance of our frontal lobe's inhibition, which I believe is the primary target for the Darkin spirit. Once the spirit finds the vessel feeling some sort of anger or rage, it seeps its way into the brain's frontal lobe, specifically targeting the orbital cortex, reducing the activity in that area, causing the person to become less inhibited, making them give in to their feelings of anger, their desire for murder. The Darkin spirit grants its new vessel incredible power for them to carry out their desire for bloodshed, in turn fueling the Darkin spirit even more, so that one day, the vessel can be taken over completely. Thus, the Darkin is fully revived. Now that's just my proposed process for reviving a Darkin, but questions still remain. Who are the remaining Darkin from the 5 regions of Runeterra? And if Aatrox is among these 5, then why is he the only known Darkin? And how was he brought into this world? Well, if you guys enjoy me adding on to fan theories, then join me next time as I attempt to provide an answer to this mystery. Did I psych you out there? Get it? By channels about psychology? I thought it was clever. This theory stuff is a lot of fun. I might just do this again sometime in the future. I never mentioned this before, but this channel was mostly inspired by game theory. Not so much for theorizing about video games, but the concept of teaching through video games. I chose to only focus on League because it has a lot of lore for me to work with. And with the whole copyright issue with YouTube, I didn't want to risk talking about any other games. But yeah, theories are definitely a lot of fun. I might consider using them again when I'm done with the Darkin theory. Anyways, thank you for watching, and tune in next time. I think you might be a bit shocked who I propose as a Darkin.